And welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. We just wrapped up with our previous series with Team Liquid versus Mystery Gaming, where Mystery Gaming, they got their first win of the season. A momentous occasion, momentous moment there for our players. Congratulations to, of course, Mystery Gaming and to, of course, Team Liquid as well for fighting their hearts out and going all the way to the ace match. But now we are here with our second Team League match of the night. It is ONSYDE versus the Starving Camels, SSLT. And we are going to be kicking things off with a ZVZ between Solar and TooDming. Here we go. Of course, Solar on a bit of an upswing has been getting some damn good results recently, and we'll see if he can keep it up as TooDming is going to be coming in as the underdog. That's typically how these series go with the Starving Camels. The Camels, they are the dark horses, the dark camels, if you will, and despite that, they're able to cause some insane upsets. At least they have been able to do so in the past. Can they do so again? We're here to find out. In the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have for ONSYDE Gaming, it is Solar. And sporting in the top left, we have for the Starving Camels, it is TooDming. If you're in the chat, you have, I believe, 30 seconds or so. You have a little bit of time to place your bets in the chat. Predictions are open for a little bit longer, so do pick wisely here as we get into this ZVZ, and we'll see how explosive we get. So far, nothing too crazy. So far, hatch gas pool openers are upon us here. Very standard stuff from both Solar and from TooDming. Despite us loading into Golden Aura, we have no aggression yet, and Golden Aura is going to be an interesting one for ZVZ. I'll be honest, I actually haven't casted too many ZVZs this season. This new map pool, actually, I think I've been avoiding them intentionally, but I'm ready to embrace them once again. Here we go. A big shout out to the sponsors, of course, to Doyu, Honkai Star, Taido, and Autofool as well. Big shout outs. Without these lovely sponsors, we just wouldn't have WTL, we wouldn't have Kung Fu Cup. Without these sponsors, I would be asleep right now. Yeah. Actually, that's not true. Without these sponsors, we would just be co-streaming ESL Masters winter. So yeah, it's just, you know what, it's just allowing us to have some more variety here and just to have some more casting, of course. Some amazing tournaments for the players, for the viewers, for the casters. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So much love to the sponsors as we are just getting into this. And so far, standard builds. Hatch gas pool from Solar and TooDming. Mentioned it before, and we're just confirming that here. Now, Golden Aura, because of the setup, you can be a little bit more aggressive. I want to say that you can get away with even gasless openers or 15-15s into 2-base Roach. I wouldn't be opposed to that on Golden Aura, but that's not what we're seeing here. As we are just building ourselves up. Link speed is on the way. Ooh, TooDming, he does delay link speed by going for an Evo chamber instead. My oh my. Let's go. Okay, so this is looking like a +1. No, I was about to say a +1 melee Link Flood, but that is +1 Carapace instead. Interesting choice. So this is going to be there's going to be layers to this build of TooDming. It's going to be fast 1-1, essentially. Fast +1 Carapace, it's going to be leading into a faster +1, I imagine, range, because TooDming has not gone into link speed. He doesn't have the gas for it, not at the moment. But this should be 2-base Roach play from TooDming. We'll see if he does end up walling off or if he tries to take a third. As Solar is getting into his own wall, third base is on the way for our blue Zerg player. Link speed is in production. Okay, so we're not skipping link speed. Not yet, at least. As Solar goes into the main base, trying to get a read on what exactly is going on. There's that Roach Warren as well. I mentioned before that this faster +1 Carapace upgrade, I believe, is going to be leading into a second upgrade. Meanwhile, Solar, he's going for a much more standard all-in variation. The Link gets in. The Link scouts everything, by the way. Oh my god. Solar is aware of what's going on. He's aware that his opponent will have an upgrade advantage, but I don't think Solar cares. What I was getting at with Solar's build is he's also going for +1 Carapace, but this is a different variation. He's going for Roaches. Solar is going for a Ling Roach all-in. This has been very popular. He gets a surround on a Queen! A Queen goes down. Ay. Disastrous start for TooDming. as Solo should soon be building up his Roach army and soon be pushing across the map. Meanwhile, TooDming likewise is also committed. Now, what's interesting about this eventual fight is that TooDming will be ahead in upgrades, and there will be a window where he has +1 carapace and his opponent doesn't. So Solo, he has to take a more defensive position here back at home. And there it is. We spoke about how TooDming's build leads into there's layers of upgrades coming. We have +1 carapace, and as we mentioned before, there's +1 range on the way, as to be expected. It's how this build does work. It leads into, again, a Ling Roach all in. The Lings are moving out first, but we have plenty to defend. Solar is in position. And Solar, interesting, he actually hasn't been making roaches, he's been droning. Okay. Very interesting choice. I mean, I'm pretty sure Solar, he's adapting to what TooDming is up to, and of course he's aware that his upgrades are going to be far later than his opponents. So yeah, I'm just a little bit in shock, or a little bit surprised that Solar, he isn't just committing here to roaches earlier on. He's just droning. And keeping up with the Ling army of his opponents, able to shut it down. +1 carapace kicks in, +1 range on the way for both players. Now, TooDming is going to hit a stronger timing. He is, there we go, roaches have been confirmed. And Solar, he catches the Lings. Oh god, a lot of Lings are going down. Rough movement there from TooDming. This is going to be a better fight for our red Zerg player though, because the roaches are pushing in, but they get surrounded. Expensive losses here for TooDming. This should not have happened. The Lings were supposed to buffer, but the roaches do go down, and Solar, he's getting out of hand already with just pure Ling. Who needs roaches? I mean, roaches, they're good, and Solo could use some of them as well, but yeah, just snowballing out of control. I just didn't think that engagement would go as well as it did for Solar, and he even gets on top of another roach. And another. More roaches, more queens going down. TooDming is bleeding out far too much. Back at home, Solar, he has a worker lead, and finally, he's getting into his own roach production. You can see here, we have a pretty even trade with Lings. 11 roaches went down, a queen as well. A brutal loss for TooDming. And this is what Solar has been building up towards. Roaches, roach speed. Just waiting a couple of seconds here for roach speed to kick in. And then Solar can push. Once again, so persistent with his scouting. Solar going in, just making sure that no additional gases have been taken. There's no Spire, for example. Spire could catch him off guard. And there we go. We have TooDming trying to push in towards the third base. At the same time, he goes for a Ling run by. Slips into the main base. I think he may get a queen. Yeah, it looks like he did kill the queen in the main, but there are plenty of reinforcements back at him to deal with those Lings. And Solar, he's not turning back around. Not anymore. He is committed. And pushing up this ramp is going to be difficult. We are pushing into a concave. Upgrades are even. We do see TooDming actually gaining a bit of momentum here. And Solar, he has to respect it. He has to back off, wait for reinforcements. The Ravagers are being focused down. But TooDming's also overextending. TooDming, he may have gotten the Ravagers, but he does overextend. Pushes a little bit too far off of creep, and now Solar can keep on going. TooDming is now in some trouble. He does have the defensive advantage. More reinforcements are coming out. TooDming, can he hold? He's barely forcing this back. TooDming, he is holding on. +2 range on the way for Solar, though. And he's droning. Looks like he has recognized that maybe he can't quite kill TooDming. Again, the ramp and the concave is just a little bit too good. Too much to overcome. So Solar, he backs off. He backs off, he drones, he takes a 4th base, working on +2. Tunneling Claw, Burrow as well. There's no rush. Like, Solar, he's ahead economically. Pretty far ahead, actually. But is he taking too much? Because TooDming is all in. He hasn't made a worker in a long time. He's cutting workers at 46. And he's pushing. Alas, down in army supply. Forcing back the army, getting some extra hits in. And Solar, he does have the better concave. we're trying to break on through. We're trying to break the front lines here, but Solar, he has reinforcements trickling in as well. And Solar will shut down this army. TooDming just doesn't have enough. The army supplies, they were relatively close earlier, but now it's just getting a bit out of hand, getting out of control. TooDming racing back home with whatever he has left. And Solar, he avoids the ramp this time, goes straight for the 4th, and he will force a cancel. And he can take a fight. He can take a fight. The Ravager once again gets focused down. TooDming has been so on point when it comes to sniping those Ravagers, but it's a numbers game. And oh my god! Solar, calm down, Poppy, calm down. There was detection available. But yeah, Solar, he's having fun. He's enjoying himself. He's shocking on forward here. I mean, being borrowed does mean that he has... Yeah, he does regenerate that HP. GG gets called. And Solar will take game number 1. Whew. Again, in a pretty dominant performance. I say dominant. There were moments where TooDming had certain advantages in a way, but Solar, he was so on point with his scouting. His Link counterattack got a surprising amount of damage done, getting 11 roach kills. It was crazy. It was insane how much that Link counterattack did. And TooDming was behind from that moment, it felt. It was unable to really get into the swing of things. And yeah, Solar takes game 1. GG, well played. And now we're getting ready for game number 2. It's going to be TooDming's map of choice, and we are going to Oceanborn. Okay. Oceanborn is coming up next. Solar's place always looks so cozy. And this is, I mean, now there's a new mushroom. Where did the mushroom come from? It's a big mushroom behind him. Also, does he have a dog or a cat? I haven't seen Solar's pets before, but there is a little, it's like a little nest.
I think Solar has 1 or 2 dogs because we've seen them in the camp before.
Okay. We're being told that apparently 2 doggos. Let's go. Power of the doggo. It's a little bit much. It's a little bit much to overcome. And yeah, we'll see if TooDming can bring it back here on Oceanborn. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Zerg player for ONSYDE. It is Solar. And in the top left, we have his opponent for the Starving Camels, TooDming. Let's go. I feel like we need more doggo cam. Like every now and then we get like a cat in the background of someone's camera. Where are the doggos? Like, I mean, just like sitting there, like chilling, watching their opponents. Oh, we're looking at the fish. There are fish. Yeah. As once again we have hatch first builds here from our opponents. It should be hatch cast bull out of both Solar and TooDming. Not really looking too out of the norm. We saw that in the early game of game 1, TooDming did go for a fast Evo chamber, so we'll keep our eye out for that, but I doubt that we're going to be seeing that 2 games in a row. I doubt that we're going to be seeing TooDming whip that out a second time here in this series. We're going to need to do something a little bit different. For now, again, standard openers, standard builds to begin with. The question becomes, do we double down and get into 2-base roads? Do we go up to 3-base saturation? Oceanborn is a map where you can be quite heavily fortified on 3 bases. Taking the 4th is a little bit more difficult, but 3 bases is, again, far more standard. I just realized the camel's upside down. The camel's upside down, Poppy. Not like this. But yeah, just because of how heavily fortified you can be on 3 bases, I expect to see some standard play, some more macro-based openers here. But we'll see. We'll see if if anyone decides to wall off and stay on 2 bases a little bit longer. As Overlords are moving out, Link speed is on the way, at least for Solar. We should be seeing it from TooDming, but we're not. And this should be for a reason. Yeah, we're pointing it out. No Link speed here from TooDming. I guess we're throwing down another Evo chamber. Or we could be waiting for the Queen, and we could be going for a lair first and going 2 base. I'm feeling 2 base play at this point. As Solar is taking his 3rd base on location. There it is. TooDming does start the lair. So he was just waiting for the queen to finish. We're going into 2-base lair. This is going to be 2-base roach overall. Here we go. So we've kind of taken our roles here. Soul's going to be the defender. TooDming is going to be the aggressor instead. So there's that wall off. Roach Warren is thrown down. Now, there are different variations of this. We could try and go for a Nidus all-in. That is possible. But I expect this lair just to be for roach speed. I don't expect this to be too fancy with Nidus, or I don't expect us to take additional gases and go 2-base Spire, for example. Ooh, meanwhile, it looks like the lair was scouted. Uh-oh. Solar able to get a quick scout on that lair. Back at home, he's droning, throwing down his own Roach Warren. He recognizes, of course, that the Baneling Nest has been skipped, so he doesn't get his own Baneling Nest. There's no need to. No need for Banelings in this scenario. Oh no, the Queens, they move out of position. The Lings, they flood in immediately. Getting a full scout of the main base, getting even a drone as well, confirming the lack of gases. And TooDming, he's already building up his roach count. Interesting. Okay, there we go. TooDming is now droning. I feel like we need to drone. We need some workers, man. We need some workers. As Soul is just building up towards a Ling Roach army. This could just be Ling Ravager as well from Solar. That's +1 carapace is on the way. And yeah, Soul is able to enjoy an economic lead. Back at home, TooDming just now taking his third. Now, the third base is a big moment here. This tells us that TooDming actually isn't going for an all-in. He's getting fast roach speed and fast +1 range. That is true. But from here, he can drone and get into +2 and hit a +2 timing instead. We'll see if that's actually going to occur here. Yep, there we go. We have another Evo chamber from TooDming. He is moving out with his roaches. He has a creep highway set up as well. But you can see here that he's just posturing. Like he's basically just faking out to move out. Faking a push while he does return back home. There it is. Second Evo chamber has been spotted. And that should be a tell for Solar to just drone. That tells us that TooDming wants to hit a 2-1 timing with +2 and +1 carapace. And Soul's actually going for his own counterattack. Solar, he's actually going to be moving out here. I don't see the production tab, so I don't know if he's actually reinforcing. I'm a little bit in the dark as to what's happening there. And yeah, there we go. He is backing off. And he did just make a wave of drones. So Solar, he is just taking advantage of TooDming here by just droning, saturating his bases, lair on the way, soon to be roach speed. Meanwhile, something to take note of, TooDming hasn't been droning. I assumed he would with that Evo chamber. And the Evo chamber, all that means at the moment is that TooDming, he's waiting for his upgrades, but he is not droning. He is only making nothing but roaches. You can see here, Solar, he scouts. He sees the lack of saturation, only 2 drones at the third base. Solar now knows, and TooDming has to pull the trigger. He's going across the map, and Solar, has he been caught with his pants down? Is this going to be too much? TooDming is going to be pushing on forward. We are going to be even in upgrades. +1 range against +1 carapace. The boys, they have to be pulled. Solar in a bit of trouble. But last, he can afford to lose drones. He is far ahead in workers. Oh no, and we get a snipe on the hatchery. TooDming loses a base. That much less lava to work with as well. The Lings, they get into the main. They dive on the queen. That much less injects to work with as well. And TooDming, he races back home. Now, his upgrades are about to kick in. But again, at this point, he's just... I mean, he was already going to be all in. He's that much more committed here. It's all or nothing for TooDming. And Solar has had enough time to react, to respond, and to build up his own army. He's got a massive amount of Roach Ravager pushing on forward. TooDming does have the upgrade advantage. Solar, he has the concave. He has the numbers on his side as well. He's barely breaking through. Does take a bow to the face. He is forcing back TooDming, and you can see that it's just taking far too long for TooDming to reinforce. The roaches are going down, and Solar, he is going to shut down this army, going for his own big counterattack. And TooDming has run out of steam. He's on 41 workers compared to the 59 of Solar. There's nothing left here for TooDming. A handful of roaches that are trickling in. No. They're even trickling into the army. And yeah, Solar, he knows how far ahead he is. He's containing TooDming to 2 bases. Forcing him to fight, forcing him to engage. GG gets called, and Solar will take the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Solar, he will take the series in the end. A very strong start for ONSYDE Gaming. Again, Solar was the favorite player. He was the favorite player coming into this. But the rest of these best of twos are going to be a little bit closer, I feel. Up next, after a short break, we have Ryung versus Silky. Let's go. See you soon. And we're back. We are finally back. We apologize for the extended break there, but we have found our players. We have done our, or we've made our lobby, and we are diving into game one. And oh, Silky, don't drown. Of course, we're getting into Ryung versus Silky. We are continuing this best of 7 series between ONSYDE Gaming and the Starving Camels. And Silky once again is joining us, connecting to us from under the sea. You know, the connection is sometimes unstable, so wishing the best. Hopefully he can stay with us here as we're getting ready for game number 1 of this ZVT, and I am excited. I'm ready for it. Silky, he is, I would say, the best Zerg player in all of China, one of the best Zerg players in the Asia region, and we'll see if he can take it to the Dongwon, to the Tuna. This is going to be an interesting one. We have the Camel versus the Tuna, and you know, typically we have, of course, Silky in his element, you know, under the sea, in Oceanborn, if you will. But likewise, the Tuna is also Oceanborn, you know. We have very similar traits here between Ryung and Silky, so I'm concerned with how this will go. Who's going to eat who? As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Radisson Station, we have Ryung for ONSYDE. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent for the Starving Camels, Silky. Also, predictions are about to close. Get your bets in. Get your bets in. Predictions are soon to close. And yeah, here we go. We're getting into that TVZ, the Tuna Terran versus the Camel, the Dark Horse Camel, if you will. And Radisson Station is going to be an interesting one for ZVTs. We honestly don't see too many ZVTs on this map. The last ZVT I remember on Radisson Station was Cure versus Cyril in the Shaoshuai Cup, which was the Korea versus the World event that was maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Oh my god, it's pull first. Maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, where Cyril had a very difficult time actually breaking Cure on this map, and Cure ended up winning it in the end and took down Cyril on Radisson Station. At the time, Cyril, he was trying to go Muta. He was trying to go Muta to try to harass some of these more fortified bases and try to get some economic damage done, and he was unable to do so. So we'll see how Silky approaches this. As we just mentioned, it is going to be a pull first from Silky. It's going to be a pull into hatchery. 6lings are on the way, and I'm sure he's hoping to get some damage done, but we'll see if he can even bypass the Reaper as an SCV scout is moving out, and there's going to be a Reaper soon thereafter. SCV is going to be spotted by this Overlord. SCV is going to be confirming how late this hatchery is, which will be a tell, of course, for the Reaper to turn back around and to defend against these Lings. The Lings are going to be avoiding the SCV scout, which is obviously a good thing, but the SCV is going to see the hatchery itself, and that is going to be enough of a tell for Ryung to be more defensive. As there we go, the SCV does dip into the natural base, does see that the hatchery is not even done at this point, and Ryung is going to be sharking around with this Reaper. Does not come across the Lings, actually doesn't turn around. Interesting choice. Ryung, he may want to scout for a Roach Warren. He may want to scout first to make sure that there's nothing else crazy going on. As we can see, it's just, you know, a pull first into droning. Reaper does bypass the Queen, goes straight into the main base, confirms the lack of additional gases, and sees that there is no Roach Warren. Marines are chilling back at home, and Ryung should be feeling pretty safe. Oh, but the Lings, they will be able to delay the CC. That's going to be a kill on that SCV. The Reaper, though, still going ham across the map, and can we get a couple of drones? Oh, we almost get one. Quick gas guys are there from Silky. We do see that we want another SCV. Oh, we can get it. 2 SCVs go down. Not too bad. 2 SCVs, and how do we make up for this? Oh, Ryung. He's being so greedy. The CC on the low ground is finishing, and as soon as we pan into the main, there is a 3rd command center on the way before factory, I believe. There we go. There's a production tab. A very fast, after factory, before starport. So a 3cc opener into a 2nd rack. So it's going to be a 3cc 2-1-1 build here from Ryung. Very greedy, very economic. Of course, we have Silky though, actually coming out of left field, going for a fast lair, a very fast lair from Silky. Okay, I'm curious. You have my attention, Bob. You have my attention. We're taking additional gases, and we see what the fast layer is for. I mentioned earlier that we saw Cyril go mutas against Cure and struggle. We'll see if Silky can do better here, as we have 2 base mutas on the way for Silky. All the gases are being taken. 3rd base on the way as well. Because of how defensive this map is, you can get away with 2 base muta, but the Hellions, they ignore the Queens. We dive in anyway. We're looking for a scout. The Lings cannot stop them, as the Lings are being cleaned up. And we get into the main base. We get eyes on the lair, and we do spot the Spire. Big scout here from Ryung. Able to catch wind of what Silky is up to. And this is a rough moment here for Silky. The jig is up. The likelihood of these mutas getting damage done is that much lower. We should be seeing an eBay soon for Ryung. Plenty of Marines. And eventually missile turrets. Now, because of the build, because of the opener, Ryung, he just hasn't really been able to actually get into any turrets. Yes, there we go. The E-base are now on the way. Engineering base, of course. They are in production. And the Marines are going to be zoning away that Overseer as well. We're doubling down. We have +1 air attack. Oh my god. On the way. So this tells us that Silky, he isn't just going to be making mutas to harass, but he's going to be doubling down and just making as many mutas as he can. Ling speed is on the way, so he will have a Ling ground army. That is true, but no Bailey Nest, no Evo chambers from Silky. Just mutas. We're also pointing out that Silky is staying on a relatively low drone count, which is surprising. I'm surprised that those 18 Lings that are on the way aren't 18 drones. Right. Westerners, I should say, but I'm surprised that we're not droning, is what I'm getting at here. Yeah, just continued Ling production instead. Silky just staying on a very low worker count, and he is pushing towards the rocks even. Oh my god. Okay. Let's go. We're going for a big 2-base all-in. No drones whatsoever. Actually, the drones, they turned back around. I thought we were going to be mining through the minerals. I wanted it, Papi. I wanted it. But alas, it looks like we're going in a different direction entirely. Which is brutal, because that is a lot of workers that have no longer any mining. I kind of wanted us to commit. Again, maybe we were afraid that it was gonna take too long to work through all those rocks. And we're droning. We're droning back at home. We have a Bailey Nest on the way as well for Silky. Ryung is in position, ready to deal with any of those drones if they were to show up. And yeah, Silky's transitioning out of this, which is brutal. It's brutal because Silky delayed drone production. He delayed drone production for a big Ling flood, and it didn't really come to fruition. It didn't really come together. It was a little bit too disjointed, and as a result, Silky, his mutas haven't done much. They've killed 1 depot. The drones are coming in! Let's go! Oh, but there's a... Yeah, there is a Widowmine in position. Mutas, they come in. And I'm pretty sure Ryung may have seen that drone as well. Scan is going to be revealing the lack of gold base. And yes, Silky turns back around. Does turn back around in the end. But I love it. Like, I've yet to see a player try to aggressively mine out that wall from the opposing player. We haven't seen it. We've been casting this new patch ever since its inception, even before that. And we haven't seen anyone try to rush in that kind of way. Silky just tried, but wasn't able to do it either. Oh my god! Massive mine connections on the mutas. But at some point, I would love to see that happen. I would love to see an all-in where you break down those rocks and you mine through those mineral patches unscouted. That'd be beautiful. We're not getting it today, but one day I'd like to see it. One day. I want to believe in Silky. Until then, of course, we are just going to be chilling back at home. Still building up that muta count. 15 mutas in total. We got Ling Bane to support. 1-1 on the way. Bailing speed. 55 Lings. And Ryung is still stuck at home. Still respecting that muta flock. Classic Gladiator forums about predictions as they close. I mean, you got to keep eyes on the chats, okay? You got to keep eyes on it. The predictions, Papi. They're there. They are there. Here we go. The mine drop is going to be coming in from behind. Only 2 Widow Mines, not the most committed drop. We'll see if we can get much done. It is creating an opening. It is forcing these mutas back home to deal with the drop, and that means that Ryung can push through the center with his army. Massive amount of Marines, Widow Mines, Thors are on the way as well. Drilling Claws just now finishing up. Ryung, he's just cutting a path through all this creep. Silky is ready for this though. The downside is Silky's upgrades. Because he invested so much into mutas, that means there's less gas for upgrades, and he just finished up 1-1. Meanwhile, Ryung is soon to start 3-3. This 2-2 is completed. And here we go. We're just going to be diving on forward here. How good are the mine shots? Big connections on the mutas. Not the best connections on the Ling Bane, though. That's a lot better. As big connections will be going off on the Ling Bane. And Ryung, he takes a pretty good fight. He kites all the way back. He keeps the majority of his Marines alive. And now we have reinforcements coming in, this time with Thors. And Thors, they do have they're of course dual purpose. They can not just shut down mutas, but they can also soak up a lot of banelings as well. We do have a token swarm host on the way, as we should. Wouldn't be a Zerg matchup here without at least one just random swarm host made. Hopefully, it's able to live through the fight and actually take part. Okay, good luck, Papi. Good luck. As Ryung is just setting up in the center of the map, he has maxed out at this point. Silky trying to go for a big counterattack. He is spotted by the sensor tower. He has been seen. Ryung just setting up a massive spread here of Marine Marauder. Marine Thor even. It's 4 Thors. 8 Widow Mines. And 66 Marines. Big Thor volleys as well. A bit of friendly fire is going to be happening here in the center of the map. But for the most part, Ryung is reinforcing. Silky is about to max out. Ryung is maybe taking a little bit too much time. But he is going to be threatening an attack. And here we go. We're going to be diving in once again. At least on a small portion of the army. Pushing into this minefield is not the best idea for Silky. I'm concerned he's being zoned away. Oh my god, he's being cut off from his own natural. From his own 4th base. Yeah, we're going to have to engage. It all comes down to this as Silky, he collapses on in once again. Ling Bane going to be crashing into the Widow Mines. Not the best connections on the Marines. And Ryung, he can turn around, he can fight. More Banelings are coming in. Up. The spread is too good. The split is too good. The Ling Bane just evaporates. And Ryung is getting out of control. He's up 60 supply. One good fight is all he needed. And Silky needs time to rebuild and remax, and that is just not going to happen. As Ryung is now going to be threatening the 4th base and the 5th as well. We do have a couple of Banelings finishing on up, but even here, it's just not going to be enough. The Thor stands strong. The juggling. The juggling on the Thors. As Ryung, he breaks the 5th, the 4th, and now pushes into the natural. GG gets called, and Ryung will take game number 1. GG, well played. Again, a solid game there out of Ryung. Nothing too fancy. Really, it came down to scouting. He was able to scout, confirm the 2-base Spire play. He just turtled up back at home, absorbing the aggression of Silky, building himself up on 4 bases, and then eventually pushing with a 200 supply army of Marines, 2 Marines, Widow Mines, and Thors. And the problem here is that when you're going, to wind it back, when you're going 2-base muta, you mutas, they're not just designed to contain your opponent. which is what Ryung, he was happily turtling on up, but you have to also get economic damage done, and ideally you contain the opponent to 3 bases, right? You deny any kind of 4th base being taken, you pick off metavacs, you deny drop play, you get worker kills, but none of that was happening. The mutas, they got 1 depot and maybe a couple of marines, if that's like the mutas, they just were a little bit lackluster. A big investment into something that never really came into play. Mutas, they're not really designed to fight head to head, to have these like big frontal engagements. They're designed to backstab and pick off reinforcements and cripple the economy and whittle away at the army while you build up a ground army. And yeah, it's just something that Silky just wasn't able to accomplish with those mutas. And with that, Ryung takes a 1-0 lead. And now we're going to be getting into game number 2 on a very different map on Golden Aura. This is going to be Silky's map choice. A much shorter rush distance. We have spoken about this map before, about the fact that you can be very greedy on this map as well because of the base layout and how close a lot of these bases are. So I wonder if Silky has something special planned for us. I hope so. You know, we saw some of it. We saw us like a moment of brilliance. Remember when he was working through those rocks, when he pulled the boys to mine through those minerals? I got excited, Papi. I got excited. I wanted something crazy out of Silky. We were denied it, but maybe we'll get it here in game 2. I hope so. I do hope so. As again, Golden Aura. Outside of that, though, I feel like Ryung, I mean, we should just see more of the same. It was nothing too special out of him. It was an economic opener, and all he had to really do was keep up with the scouting, keep up with what Silky was up to before eventually going for that big death push across the map, the death ball of an army moving out on Radisson Station. The rush distance by ground is that much shorter on Golden Aura, so these counterattacks are going to hit that much harder as well, that much harder, that much faster. It's going to be more difficult to defend if you do take a bad fight. Bear that in mind. Things can escalate very quickly on this map. Very quickly. Oh no, where did Silky go? No, he's drifting off into the ocean. Into the sea. I appreciate that it's animated. Oh my, oh, see. In the bottom right, we have Ryung for ONSYDE. And is he going to be on cams in the top left? We have for the starving camels. It is Silky. Where did he go? What's happening? Where did he float off to? Do you think he has a he is producing, like, is that his keyboard? Do you think he has like a wireless keyboard and he like quickly went to the kitchen or something? He just floated off and he took his keyboard with him alongside his mouse. It's possible. It's possible. Playing from the floor. Oh. Okay, we're getting a bit of a pause. We're looking for Silky. We're looking for him. We need to make sure he's okay. Oh, the camera fell. Okay. That's what happened. Okay, so Silky, he was there, but the camera did fall down. Okay, we're back. It's okay. We saved the cameraman. We're good. He's popped back up. He's alive. We thought we lost him. We're good to go. Ah. Again, thankfully, it didn't really disrupt like the build or anything like that. Like Silky was just playing away at the game, and the openers were fine. That was a terrifying moment though. So here we go. We're coming back in. Already done our player intros and we're getting into our game. This time a hatch gas pool standard opener out of Silky. In the previous game we had a pool first. This time, hatch gas pool. We be chilling. We went to his ship to get something. Oh god. It's okay, we're back. Oh. You know, it's one of those things where sometimes in the middle of the game you want to stretch your legs, you know, you want to go for a bit of a dip into the ocean just to refresh your mind, refresh your mental state. Yeah, it's understandable. It's good. As Ryung is going to be going for a Rax expand on location, so nothing too out of the norm when it comes to the openers themselves. I didn't know I could love Silky's setup even more. Oh god. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It reminds me of Oreo. Oreo, our lovely Zerg player. Whenever he played on cams, whenever he played and production needed a webcam, he actually doesn't own a webcam, so he would use his phone instead. So we'd get like phone POV of Oreo. I think there are a couple of players that do that in WTL as well. There are, I think Fire uses his phone. You can tell because it's like vertical. And sometimes, you know, the phone, it's not the most stable thing in the world, and sometimes it topples over. It we can lose our players, Pappy. We can lose them. As again, a very economic opener here out of Ryung. Before the natural's even done, before the factory is even done, we throw down a third CC. So very greedy here from our blue Terran player. Very confident play out of Ryung. And we'll see if he can get away with it. I mentioned before that I expect Silky to be coming in as a man with a plan. I expect him to have something special in store for us. I'm hoping so, at least. Why else pick Golden Aura of all maps? Meanwhile, it's going to be a 3cc Starport opener. Could be 3cc Banshee. But I don't see a Tech Lab. Oh, there we go. Tech Lab is now on the way. And we could be seeing an add-on swap once the Starport is done. Reaper dives into the main base. A very important scouts. By this point, we would have already seen a lair. So Ryung is just making sure that 2-base lair is not going to be an option or available here for Silky. There's that add-on swap that we were alluding to, and it is going to be 3cc Banshee. Again, a slightly faster CC, but a Banshee nonetheless. Very secure play. This keeps you safe against any kind of roach-based opener. If Silky were to go into roaches, then Banshees would just wreak havoc on those roaches on the ground. It's just a very stable and very safe way to play. There's a reason why the opener that Ryung is going for is so standard and so meta. If you're a Terran player out there, if you're learning the game, if you want to improve yourself, then this is just a very solid build for TVZ. Very safe and very economic. As Ryung, he's going to be able to barely take down the Overlord as well. Silky, slow on the draw, slow to react, will not be able to save it. As he was able to scout that starport. Back at home, Silky, he's going to be going for the correct call. He delays his lair, he delays his Bailey Nest, he's going for a faster Evo Chambers, faster 1-1. And this is the correct move to go for. Because Ryung was so greedy and so economic, because his third base is so fast, the Zerg player also has to try to catch up and keep up with that greed. And they're going to be doing so in these upgrades. So we're going to have a much faster 1-1 and eventually 2-2 for Silky. Meanwhile, Ryung has a solid economy. Silky, of course, he knows that he doesn't need early banelings. He has to deal with Hellions, and he has Queens and Lings for that. So Silky, he can afford to just cut corners and delay his lair. But we should have our lair on the way now. Okay. Interesting. So we are throwing down a macro hatch as well as the fourth base. I actually don't see the... Okay, there we go. I was like, where's the lair? There it is. Lair is now on the way. Now in the production tab. There's that Bailey Nest as well. It does feel like the lair is a little bit delayed, more so than usual, which is a little bit concerning. Was that Banshee is just wreaking havoc? Oh my god, the spores are out of position with 2 shooting workers, 1 shooting workers even, and 8, 9, 10 drones go down. This is too much. 11 drones in total, and the Banshees, they're still kicking. They can still get more done. They deny mining at the 4th base. They do spot the lair at the natural. Ay. Silky was just not ready for this. His spores, they were in position to deal with Liberators, not with Banshees. Just did misread the situation. So yeah, we pick off a couple more Lings. 1 more drone goes down. We can bully these gas geysers. And 2 games in a row. This time we're not rushing into it. It's going to be Lingbane Muta. Okay, Spire is on the way. Lingbane Muta from Silky. As we mentioned before, we should be committing a lot less to mutas just because we've fixated and prioritized upgrades for the Ling Bane. But yeah, it's a little bit more old school from Silky. Definitely not something that you see too often anymore like you used to back in Heart of the Swarm, for example. Ling Bane Hydra has kind of taken the role of Ling Bane Muta for quite some time. But we'll see. We'll see if Silky can get something done with this. As Queen's going to be going down, we're clearing up a lot of this creep. A lot of creep is going down. A good target firing as well on two of the Banelings. Oh, and Lings are caught out by the Hellions as well. Silky bleeding out a lot here in these past couple of minutes. 25 Lings going down and 1 Queen and 1 Overlord. Meanwhile, 2-2 was delayed for Silky. I do think that 2-2 could have been a little bit faster for him. As a result, Ryung has been able to catch up. 2-2 on the way for both players. Once again, Drilling Claws in production for Ryung. He's going for a Ling Bane. Ling Bane? What? Going for a Marine Hellbat's Widowmine composition, actually, as we're pushing onto creep with our 2 tanks. And is Silky ready for this? He does have Bailing Speed. Does have his 1-1 upgrades, but this is a very good tank position here for Ryung. Is going to be threatening the Queen. Is going to be threatening those gas geysers as well. At the same time, though, Silky going for a big counterattack. He gets into the mineral line, forcing some friendly fire as well. At the same time, Silky collapses on the Marines. Good connections. The Marines, they're being zoned away. Big connections here on the Bio Army, and Silky is going to clean this up. At the same time, he takes down 24 SCVs across the map. It takes far too long to clean them up, and Ryung, he loses everything. He loses his army. He loses his economy. Ryung is now in a rough position. And he may even be forced all in. Silky, in one swift move, he takes down the army, he takes down the economy, and now he just has to survive this counterattack. That's easier said than done. Ryung is ahead in supply. We spoke about this earlier, but counterattacks, they do not take long at all here on Golden Aura. Bases, they're almost a screen away. And Ryung, he's already knocking down the door of Silky. He's going for a big counterattack with her mines. The wall is the wall. Widow mines go off back at home. As once again, the Lings, they get into that third base. And Ryung, we got to keep pushing. 6 SCVs are going to be going down. Silky, can he bring it back here? It looks like he can. He's getting further ahead in the economy. It does take a mine shot to the... Oh my god! It does take some massive mine shots to the face. But Silky, he still has enough. He can keep on pushing. Takes down the medevac in the retreat. Oh, the Widow Mines are about to reset. We can make use of them. If Ryung can counterattack, then he can support himself. Oh, please, don't run. No, go no. Not through here. Okay, as the Widow Mines are repositioning. A couple of them are going to be going down. Oof. Decent shots on those Lings. One of them even makes its way towards the third. But for the most part, Silky, he's recovering. He's up to 90 drones. That's maybe too many. It's a lot of workers. But now he's focusing on his army. And from this position, Ryung, he has to turtle. He has to just turtle up. Fortify himself on 3 and then 4 bases. There's no other way about this. Aye. And Silky is about to max out. Now, I don't think he has a hive yet. Yeah, now we have a hive on the way. It is a little bit delayed, which means 3-3 is delayed. Adrenal is delayed. He's stuck with a Lair Tech army. Ryung isn't out of this yet, but Silky has a chance. Does have a chance. Let's pick off one of those Widow Mines. Ryung going to be rotating out. So going to be sending out a drop to try to get a read on what's going on. Looks like he's making a beeline for some of these fringe bases here of Silky. You can see that Ryung, he's catching up in army supply. The reality is, though, that Ryung, he doesn't have the economy to rebuild. So this army is pretty one and done for Ryung. Good mine shots. taking out a lot of these banelings. So again, Ryung, this one push needs to trade well. Needs to either end the game or take down 2 bases. It's all or nothing for Ryung. And he has a lot of potential. He is not out of this yet. Meanwhile, Silky, slow and steady. We got to be dealing with this army, picking it apart however we can. We don't want to overextend into this. And Silky instead going for a counterattack. A big counterattack coming in. That's going to be a kill, not a cancel on that hatchery. There are reinforcements back at home. Bailey's connecting with Marauders. Decent connections towards the end here. Ryung taking a lot of losses back at home. But he's pushing. And there are only 8 Banelings left. Oh, we do not have a lot of Banelings left here for Silky. He did undermake them. He's getting into Ultras instead. But here come reinforcements. You see Silky trying to come in from behind, but he gets caught out. No! One meter does go down. Not the best connections from those Banelings. Trading with 2 Marines. And Ryung, he's pushing forward towards the third base. The new third base of Silky. Towards that natural link bait rolling in once again. But the Thors, they tank so many of them. Now it's only Marines. Marines and Mutas left. And Ryung, he can fight this head on. It's so close. The Ultras, they arrive just in time. Bit of friendly fire, and Ryung, you can see him shake his head on cams. He is cleaned up, and that is all he had left. That was his only army. And Silky, now that he's reached his Ultras, he's reached his final form. He has reached his final form. He's making a series out of this. He's fighting back. There's a reason why I say that Silky is the best player, or the best Zerg player in all of China. One of the best Zergs in Asia. Again, he can even take it to Ryung. Ooh, forced to pick up and land his 4th. That's how desperate Ryung is at the moment. Or pick up and land his main as his 4th. Ryung on his last legs here. And Silky is just engulfing the rest of the map. Now, his creep spread is lacking. That is true. His creep could be better. But he has a lot of bases. +3 carapace on the way. +3 melee, just now finishing up even. And Silky has maxed out, and he needs to make sure he doesn't rest on his laurels. He has to make sure he doesn't allow Ryung to max out again. We can push in, we can punish one of these bases. And here we go, we're going for it. The mine! Oh, does not connect with the army. Good drags from Silky. He busts into that third base. Takes down the SCVs. A big fungal as well on those medevacs, and it looks like Silky, he is just breaking this location. He's snowballing out of control. There's not much left here for Ryung. He's down to 1 Thor, a handful of bio units. The Thor is holding strong. It is holding the line. But it's just too little too late. GG gets called, and Silky from under the sea takes down the Tunitaran, and we tied up 1-1. GG, well played. Ooh, this will not be a one-sided series. Silky going to be able to put a point on the board here for his team, leading the charge. And the question becomes, can Cyan fight back? Now, Maru, he has dropped matches. He has dropped games before. In WTL, he has dropped games to Protoss players. To players like Firefly, like Jeshi. I want to say that they've been able to cause Maru to bleed a little bit, especially in the TVP matchup. Can Cyan do the same? It's going to be an uphill battle. Of course, Maru is the favorite player, and Maru needs 1 win. 1 win is all he needs for ONSYDE to take it. Cyan needs a 2-0 to force the ace match. We'll find out how this ends after the break. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our final best of 2 of this series. We'll see how this story does end between ONSYDE Gaming and the Starving Camels. It's going to be Maru versus Cyan in a TVP, and I was quickly going over some of those previous results. Again, I remember last season Maru going up against some of these big Protoss names, especially in the Chinese region. He has been shown to bleed before, but will it happen again? As, yes, just double checking, Firefly, I remember Firefly, he almost 2-0'd Maru, but that was Firefly, and that was back when he was the ace player of the Starving Camels. Nowadays, I feel like Cyan has kind of had to step into the role of ace, and can he do what Firefly did last season? Can he even surpass Firefly and get a 2-0, get a clean 2-0 here against Maru and force the ace match? We're here to find out. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have Maru for ONSYDE Gaming. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent for the Starving Camels. It is Cyan. Here we go. Again, I know I can't believe my eyes. Firefly is a lot to live up to. I fully understand that. But we'll see. We'll see if it is going to be possible here. As, of course, the pressure is on Cyan to bring down the ace player of ONSYDE, the highest ranked Terran in WTL. You don't get better than Maru. I think the only player with a higher ELO than Maru in WTL is Cyril. No one else. Here we go. We're getting into our openers. It looks like Maru is going to be going for a double gas opener. Interesting. He's not going economic. He's going for a safer, sometimes more aggressive opener instead. Okay, so double gas leads into a faster factory. Meanwhile, Cyan going for a gate expand. Economic opener out of our red Protoss player. Gate expand into the cyber core. And really my eyes are on Maru at this point. Cyan, he's opening up standard, economic. Maru isn't. So we'll see how aggressive he does plan on being. Factory on the way. I see in the chat. Maru is in top tier only around a 16 player. True, true. How does Cyril have a higher ELO rank when Cyril has dropped games? Maru has also dropped games. For those wondering, the ELO is calculated not just from this season, but every season's WTL. So the previous WTL season summer and years past as well is all aggregated together alongside I believe Kung Fu Cup. I'm not too sure about Kung Fu Cup. Yeah, exactly. Per season, no, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, he did win Kung Fu Cup recently. That is true. That is true. Is true. And here we go. The Reaper is gonna be able to shut down that scouting probe. And we are going for a Twilight Council opener. Interesting. Okay, so Cyan going to be going for a Twilight Council, not a Stargate. Should be for Blink. And we'll see how committed we're going to be and how many gateways get thrown down for Cyan. As for now, the Reaper slips into the main base. Heads towards that mineral line. Gets a scout. He does get eyes on the Twilight Council. Gets surrounded. Reaper is going to go down. But again, he got what he needed. He got the scouting information that he was looking for. I believe that is a second gateway on the way. Alongside that Robo. Cyan going to be going in for a scout as well with a hallucination. Confirming the 1-1-1. Tank production commencing here. And we're going for a drop across the map. We mentioned before, because of the more aggressive double gas opener out of Maru, he was able to get into a faster factory, which led into a faster starport. And we are going for that drop, which has been spotted by Cyan. But can he stop it? Can he slow it down? So attempting to get in position. It is going to be a 2-gate blink opener into a third. So economic out of Cyan. Very macro-oriented, not aggressive at all. As the drop does slip into the main base, it's one Widowmine alongside all these Marines. And how good is the shot going to be? Again, the Widowmine, ooh, is going to go off on some workers, not on the Stalkers. And that means that we will be able to deal with this. We will be able to clean this up. The Stalker getting very low. And the probes are being focused down one after the other. 6 workers going down. 6 workers. And can we get some more? Can we even get the Stalker as well? Looks like we get 7. We get 8. And the Marines escape. And this is the power of a Marine Widowmine drop. This is something that Maru's been doing this recently. I think Beyond started doing this recently as well. Instead of going for a mine drop, you go with Marines as well. And sure, a mine ideally zones away the Stalkers, but the Marines, they focus fire as many workers as possible. And you can get even more economic damage done with this, as opposed to just purely a mine drop. Of course, this is more committed, just because you're throwing away your Marines, but usually you can get more value out of it. Usually, not always. Maru just wreaking havoc here. The Banshee comes in once again. We do have detection. When Cyan completely shuts that down. Maru, he initially had a good drop, but the Banshee less than ideal, especially considering we invested into Cloak. So a rough loss there for Maru, but here comes the rest of the push. We have a tank, we have Marines. No medevacs. The one medevac in the game is stuck behind the bases. So there's not too much longevity with this army, bearing in mind that we're pushing without stim. This is a vanilla Marine push. Tanks are being thrown down. Sorry, bunkers are being thrown down. We dive on top of the tank, and the tank will fall. A good pick off there from Cyan. He's bleeding out a lot of Stalkers, though. Shield battery finishes up just in time. We need detection. We need that detection. We have it as well. The bunkers, they will not finish. Tank is on the way. The overcharge putting in a lot of work. Can we deny the bunker? The SCV barely does survive. And it looks like the bunker is going to complete. Oh my god. That was so close. We blink on forward. We deny the second bunker. But that tank is still wreaking havoc, and we do need to dive on it. And there we go. The tank is finally going to go down, but we are down to 4 Stalkers remaining. Cyan barely running out of steam. Going to be distracting the army for a moment. Dragging it over. The Marines, they come back in. But there's a shield battery. We hold. And it looks like Maru's being cleaned up. Again, a pretty solid defense here out of Cyan. He doesn't lose too many more workers. He only lost 2. He's going to be up in workers overall. He's up 10, 11 even. And this was a very expensive trade for Maru. He lost, what was that? 2 tanks, Banshees. Could even lose a 3rd tank as well if he's not too careful. Oh, another Banshee goes down. Again, it was a powerful attack out of Maru, but a very impressive defense out of Cyan. As Maru's forced to turn back around. Another Banshee going down for free. Trading with 1 Stalker. Again, Maru, he needs to calm things down. Bleeding out too much. Cyan, he's double expanding. Oh, he's crazy. Cyan, taking a 4th is fine. He's taking a 5th base. I mean, he does have map control, don't get me wrong, but this is wild. 4th base on the way from Cyan. He blinks into the main base. Is going to be able to deny some of these add-ons. Reactor goes down. Could even get another reactor as well. Oh, can he get the Marauder? Oh, doesn't quite get it in the end. Was close, though. As he is forced out. Stim finally finishing up. Maru is going to have a much easier time dealing with the army. Scans the natural base. And what's important is that Cyan is going for a swarm toss composition. This is why he's expanding so much. This is very Haas-esque. We've spoken about this before. Double Forge, Blink Stalkers into charge. No Colossus, no Storm, no Archons, no Disruptors. No splash damage, just a massive gateway army instead. And the power of this for Cyan comes in the aggression of Maru. Cyan, he wants to fight this out in the center of the map if possible. The boys are being pulled. Maru, he's all in. Oh my god. Maru, he's completely all in with this. He wants to end the game one way or another. He knows he's just a little bit too far behind. He cannot go for a longer game, especially against Cyan, who's on 5 bases. And Cyan is not ready for this. He's not ready for an all-in. He wanted a longer game. He wanted a macro game. In which case, his 5 bases would have really kicked in. The tanks are sieged. Big tank volleys going off already. And Cyan, he's zoned away from his own natural. And without Colossus, how do we deal with this wall of Marines? This wall of SCVs even? We don't deal with this. As Maru, he's zoning the army away, pushing into the natural, takes down the Zealots, takes down the Immortals. We have 10 gateways, but clearly that is not enough. Cyan, he's got 1k minerals in the bank. He needs to spend his money, papi. He's trying, but he cannot. The prism goes down. And Maru, he is breaking the defenses here of Cyan. Again, if Cyan just had a longer game, if Maru had chosen to expand, Cyan would have been ahead, and he may have taken the game, to be honest. He may have just taken it all. Cyan is going to be pulling back. He does preserve his workers. He's on 78 probes. Crazy. 78. The all-in is the one thing that he wasn't ready for. He's pushing Maru. He's taking control of the natural. Takes down 19 probes. Cyan going to be trying to catch some reinforcements instead. You know, Maru diving into the main. Takes down the rover. The boys have to be pulled. This is the last stand of Cyan. And it's never pretty seeing probes against Marines. And with that, Maru, he's heavily overstimmed, but he is dealing with the main base, taking control of the production, taking control of the tech. Cyan, he had such a good start. He had such a strong start, papi. Ay, ay, ay. If only he had a higher gateway count. If only he had the luxury of just having some breathing room and getting some extra warp-ins in. Going for a big Zealot counterattack. We have a gateway explosion on the way. Now, Cyan, he's still up in economy. Like, bearing in mind, that's how dedicated, that's how all-in Maru is. Cyan, he still has a better economy than his opponent. He takes down the tank. Yo, can he deal with the army? It's heavily overstimmed. The mines. Oh, trying to force some friendly fire. Not quite. Shield batteries coming in clutch. We need another weapon of Zealots. Medevac does go down, and Maru, he is looking for these mining bases. He does come across them. Forced to recall back home. Oh, and that economy that Cyan had, it's not there anymore. The boys, they have to be pulled. Cyan, he knows that he had this game. GG gets called. Ah. And Maru will take game number 1. Cyan shaking out. I feel for Cyan. A little bit frustrated about that game. And again, he was in a winning position. Unfortunate that he happened to be going for a Swarm Toss composition. If Cyan had been taking towards Colossus instead, if he had been working on a Robotics Bay, then he would have had a Colossus in time for that all-in. And we would have seen a very different game. We would have had a better answer, a better reaction to that boy pool, to those SCVs. Likewise, if Cyan was able to get 1 extra warp in, maybe 2 extra warp ins, because he had the money for it. He had the money. He just needed time for those warp ins, for those gateways to reset, or even just more gateways in general, to be honest. He just needed another warp in, and then maybe he's able to preserve his natural and run away with it. GG, well played. GG, well played. Maru will take game 1, and that means ONSYDE will take the series. ONSYDE will take the series here. And we'll see if Cyan can fight back. Here we go. Double. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But just basically, Cyan was a little bit too greedy there. And obviously, Cyan wasn't expecting the all-in. And again, it's one of those things that if Maru didn't all-in in that moment, I would have given it to Cyan. Like, he would have... he most likely would have been able to just snowball out of control and take the win from there. So it was very smart of Maru to pull the boys in that moment. I think it was very crucial that he did so, especially after bleeding out so much. I do think that was the correct call, and was able to punish Cyan in the end. Was able to take it. Here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Radisson Station, we have Maru for ONSYDE. And in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have Cyan for the Starving Camels. Let's go. Let us go. As Maru, looking to spice things up, is going to be sending his SCV around the long way here, sending 2 SCVs out, looking for some proxies. Looking to throw down some proxies, I should say. Let's go. There it is. The Raxes are being thrown down. Is this going to be a proxy Rax in conjunction with an eBay block? I'm curious, as the SCV does slip in, and there is a probe on the low ground, so we won't be able to quite deny, or we won't be able to really throw anything down. The probe scout does confirm that the Rax is missing. The Rax should be at home, and it is nowhere to be found. And there it is. I thought because the probe was on the low ground that we would be able to deny the eBay block, but alas, the eBay is thrown down. And that is going to disrupt the overall build here of Cyan. He wanted to go for a gate expand. It is going to be delayed, and we are going to be getting those Reapers up and running for Maru. Now, it's not the most committed proxy. It's only a single Rax, so only Marines. I question this proxy a little bit. There is no Reaper cliff that comes into the main or the natural, so yeah, this is a very interesting build out of Maru, and we'll see what he can get done. We'll see if he can manage to get any kind of damage here as the eBay is cancelled. SCV, of course, confirming the factory that's on the way. So now, Cyan, he knows it's not going to be a double... It's not going to be a proxy 2 Rax. Or the bunker is thrown down. Reaper does arrive, is going to be able to take down this probe, and we may be able to finish up the bunker. Oh, that's going to be huge. That is going to be huge. As Reaper slips into the main base again, wreaking havoc. The Adept is going to come out, and can we focus down that SCV? And it looks like we cannot. So the bunker finishes, and this is devastating. This could be the nail in the coffin. If the Reaper is able to escape and get down to that bunker, then we can take control of the production, and we can look to depower the gateway. Shield batteries on the way. Again, that pylon taking a lot of hits. The Adept as well. Oh, the clutch micro there out of Maru. Just going to be microing that SCV. He cannot take a hit as he does repair the bunker. More Marines on the way. And we do have a second pylon behind the first, thankfully. Actually, we're focusing down the shield battery. Interesting choice. Going for the shield battery instead of the pylon. He will get it. Gets a shield battery, gets the Adept. Oh, another shield battery on the way as well. Another probe falls. Oh my god, and we're not done. We have a Cyclone moving across the map. This is a one base all in out of Maru. He went for a 1-1-1 behind this. Now we have a very delayed natural base. The pressure is on Maru to make it worth it. A very delayed expansion here from our Terran player. And so far, he delays Warp Gate. He denies Warp Gate. That's huge. Which means we can dive on the army. The Cyclone takes a lot of hits. Cyclone is going to go down. But the Stalker will barely survive. Meanwhile, Maru, he can just fall back to the safety of his bunker. Regenerating his HP. Another Cyclone is on the way. That's going to be another big power spike here for Maru. And yeah, denying Warp Gate, like, that is just such a big deal. That's such a massive loss for Cyan. Shield battery's putting in a lot of work. That is true. Yeah, the SCV's still alive. Oh, barely. The control out of... Oh, no! The control out of Maru, but the SCV finally goes down, forces salvage. And Maru is forced back. And he is double expanding. He's, again, a very delayed expansion out of Maru. He has a very delayed economy, but he's going for the gold. He's going for the gold base. Maru, he's having some fun. Do you get the Cyclone jump into the main? A couple of SCVs are going down. One of the Stalkers as well. So far, really good juggling here out of Maru, but loses one of those Cyclones. Only one, though. And yeah, Maru, he can just juggle for quite some time. Plenty of HP. Takes down the Stalker as well. GG gets called. It's just too much. And Maru takes the series 2-0. GG, well played. Maru having some fun here in Game 2. Game 1 was far closer. And I do want to put that a little bit on Maru because he was overly aggressive. Here in Game 2, a very risky move, but the fact that he was able to get the bunker up changed everything. If the bunker hadn't finished, different game. Suddenly warp gate finishes, we can warp in units and we can have a much more solid defense, but denying warp gate, that is game ending. That is a game ending move there, and you could see that Cyan, he was struggling to keep up, struggling to actually maintain himself. Very aggressive build there out of Maru, and GG, well played. That wraps up our series here. ONSYDE will take it 5-1, but a big shout out to the Starving Camels, because Silky, he was able to fight back against Ryung, and again, game 1 was wild between Cyan and Maru. I appreciate it. Was an entertaining series overall, and yeah, with that, we are going to be wrapping up. Of course, how could I forget? A shout out to Mystery Gaming. Mystery Game, they popped off tonight and they won their first series against Team Liquid. Ah, that was that was beautiful. You could see the joy as we get some uwus going on, but you could see the joy in Shin's face. Like when he won this series, he was so hyped, he was so happy, it was so wholesome. It was so wholesome seeing Shin win. And to be fair, like for some context, of course, a lot of it also came down to the fact that Team Liquid, they didn't have Clem for the ace match. They didn't have Clem available, so that did give Mystery Gaming a bit of an edge and a bit of an advantage. But a win is a win nonetheless, and congratulations. With that, we are done for the night. We are going to be done for the night here, as WTL is going to be wrapping up. And we may have another cast on the horizon. Let me just double check here. It looks like ESL Masters Europe has already started. I'm on the fence about whether we want to co-stream ESL Masters Americas. I'm very on the fence about that. Just because we have another cast. How long? Oh, we have another cast tomorrow. We have another cast tomorrow morning. In how many hours time? 9 hours. So in 9 hours time, 9 hours from hearing this message, we're going to be live with the Tenacious Turtle Tussle number 12. It is our bi-weekly tournament where we feature players from the Americas, Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Oceania as well. So we do have a tournament in 9 hours. So I could get a good night's sleep and actually sleep 8 hours for the first time in a couple of weeks. Or I could try and sleep a little bit less, maybe, and try to guesstimate when ESL Masters Americas starts. And if I wake up in time, we can co-stream ESL Masters Americas. That is possible. We could try and do that. When is ESL Masters Americas scheduled to start? 3 hours. 3 hours time. I think that's too little. I don't think I would have to sleep for 2 hours. I would have to sleep for 2 hours and then wake up in time for ESL Masters Americas. I don't know. I don't think I can trust myself. I don't think I can trust myself to sleep for only 2 hours and not sleep in. So if you're interested, if you want some more content, we may be live in 3 hours with ESL Masters coverage. But if not, ESL Masters is still ongoing. You know, it's still ongoing. It's still very much so underway. They're covering the European region at the moment, so you can check that out. And if you don't see us co-streaming the Americas region, then you will see us in 9 hours casting the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. So content nonetheless. So look forward to it. Otherwise, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. You can follow us on all the socials. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Discord. Twitch is getting worried. Sleep. I mean, sleep is nice. Sleep is really good, but at the same time, we have the content, but we have to cast. We have to we have to cast it all. But we have to cast it all. Aye. Guys, GG, well played. Again, you can follow us on all the social media if you wish. Otherwise, you can follow myself at light_VIP. I stream whenever I can, whenever I'm not casting, whenever I'm not sleeping. I try and stream. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for at least the Tenacious Turtle Tussle in 9 hours time. Until then, hasta luego. See you soon.